I'll make this observation. If the ball carrier's been tagged and the player turns around and starts looking for somebody, odds are, I'm going to call it, unless it's a brand new team, odds are I'm going to say too long, because it's going to take too long. No point in me wasting my time, wasting anyone else's time. You as coaches, your job is to teach the kids, teach the kids when they're ball carriers to already be looking for who they're going to pass the ball to by the time they get tagged. It's the same thing we do in a tackle game, right? And even in my U19 program, my player's making a break, I'm yelling, look for support. He can run as fast as he wants, but I want him to start looking back to see where the ball should be going to. And we talk about existence of support, awareness of support. If the person's been tagged and the kids are 20 yards away, their support because it's a breakaway. You know, you sort of want to play that, because if it's just the ball carrier and the tagger and everybody's back there, it's the same thing as if it's in the tackle game and the player's been tackled and the tackler's down there. The tackler can't stop the ball carrier from playing the ball. There's no defense there. So if the player takes 4 seconds to get rid of the ball, it doesn't really matter as long as he's gotten rid of the ball by the time defense is there. So you can allow something like that for even the tag game. Because again, one of the rules is the tagger makes the pass and the ball carrier passes the ball. Neither of them can play the ball, neither of them can touch the ball until someone else touches it. So it doesn't matter if they take a little bit longer when there's no support from either side coming up. Yes.
Pat, I'm sorry, but that just doesn't seem right. Two players break away, you've got an offensive and a defensive player.
Yes.
I mean, why doesn't the offensive player who just got tagged put the ball down?
Place the ball.
I mean, that's how we played it before. It's just, it doesn't make sense that we're now saying, okay, you can hold on to it 4 seconds till your guys come down. I mean, it should be put the ball down, the tagger and the taggee both back away. Isn't that?
It's all the same. What you're saying is not contrary to what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the ball needs to be played by the time offense and defense are there. Okay. If everybody's 20 steps away, if it takes them 3 seconds to do it instead of 2 seconds to do it, it does not change what the reality is of the game. What matters is, has the ball been played by the time support is there? So, and again, it's going to be, the referees will tell you it's the same thing in a tackle game. They talk about Cowboys and Indians. If the Indians, we'll say the Indians are defense. If the ball carrier's been tackled and all he has is support and he takes a couple seconds longer to make the ball available, it's going to be their ball. It's going to be offense's ball anyway. So it's all we're saying is look at the situation and does it make sense to call the penalty, as opposed to, you know, is there really any advantage? So something to think about. Yes.
Just real quick, since some of the newer coaches and refs are going to be watching this too, one of the things I like to make sure kids have their shirts tucked in, because it's easy for me to identify a tag.
And you're correct.
Would you mind?
Right. And that's a good point there. And I usually, within the first minute of a game, if they haven't done it, then I'll remember to ask that. Tuck the shirts in, because one of the easiest things you can do to a lot of times talking to kids from waist to knees isn't that easy. Tell them tag on the shorts. Everybody can do that pretty easily. I'm going to say it's easier saying tag on the shorts than saying tag on the butt. So you get the shirts tucked in, and please, if the kids, and my shirt's not long enough, if the kids have it tucked in and the shirt's hanging down there, have them tuck it in properly, because what you want is to be able to see the shorts. And I'm going to say, unless it's Ellicott City, you have that contrast in colors between shirts and shorts. And so even if you don't get to keep up, you can see that secure tag because it's hands on that color shorts as opposed to the shirts.
So the law says the waist to the knees.
From the waist to the knees.
So the waist is above the hips.
No.
And below the ribs. According to
I'm saying here's the waist.
So
From the waist
Webster has a different definition, so that's what I wanted to clarify.
Waist.
A tag is on the shorts?
Well, shorts, I'm going to say the shorts should be at the waist, not like that.
Oh, we're gonna have to edit that out.
Because it's part of the game. I'm not sure, to me, this is the waist, okay? The waist, to me, the waist is the top of the hips.
Okay, so we should just make sure that everybody's calling the same thing, because that's come up before, that everyone has a different definition of waist.
To me, here's the waist.
Hips, waist.
Again, to
Okay.
me, here's the waist.
Okay.
And we have to rewrite the definition to do that.
Well, that'll fall under laws, not rules, right?
Well, you get it. And let me make an observation for that. It's amazing how much some coaches want to interpret every little word to get that advantage at the youth game. And I'm going to say that borders on the ridiculous. The whole premise of youth is to teach the basics of the game. And I'm going to say for a lot of us, it's enough work just teaching basic plays, basic passing plays, support and things like that, without putting in that trick play where an inexperienced ref doesn't realize that the laws are that the rules are being broken, and so they get away with it. And then when it comes tournament time, when it matters for that team, now the experienced ref starts calling it, and the coach, I'm going to say, has the nerve to say, that's never been called on it before, it's allowed. And now all it means is you got away with something. And I'm going to say most times the coaches know that they're doing that. I would prefer they not do that, just teach the basics of the game. We don't keep track of scores during the summertime. We don't have league standings and things like that. Yes, the tournament matters, but the key even in a tournament is for the kids to have a good game and be able to exhibit the basics of rugby, not play that one-trick play where suddenly we have coaches yelling from the sidelines because they've always been able to do it, and yeah, they finally got caught. And now their kids basically get punished for what the coach has been allowing through the season. So it's just a caution on my part. We talked about immediately and things like that. Let's go to the next slide. Positioning. You have to see, the referee has to see what's going on. Now, I'm going to suggest the first thing that coaches need to understand is the referee is not always going to be in position to see the play. And part of what the coaches have to recognize is that that's going to happen, and they need to chill out if a tag wasn't called and it happened, or a tag was called and it didn't happen. Just recognize that's going to be part of the game. It's going to be what happens in tackle, so it's going to be what happens in tag. Hopefully you've taught the kids, just chill out, play to the ref, and move on. What you want to do, if it's a scrum, what you want to do is be on the side, watch how they put the ball in, and please have them put the ball in properly. Teach them how to actually put the ball down the center so that the hooker actually learns how to hook the ball. Don't have your player feed it underneath, and the referee should be in a position to see that. The backs now have to be 5 meters or 5 yards, however you want to do it, behind the last foot of the scrum. The referee needs to be in a position that you can tell that the offense is 5 yards back or 5 meters back, and that the defense is 5 meters back. And if that means turning to check and turning to check, you call that. When the ball comes out, the ball is usually obviously going to go to the offensive side because the team that put it in is the team that's going to win the ball. You need to do a quick swivel to verify that the defense actually stayed where they were, where they're supposed to be, when the ball comes out. You may not necessarily, they're already going to start running, but if they're suddenly a yard away, and there's no way they could be if they started 5 yards away or 5 meters away, you call the penalty offsides. Keep them honest so that play continues. And you actually have to make sure that offense stays 5 meters away. I had a tackle game. I'm in England, of all places, where you think everybody knows the rules, or maybe they think American rugby referees don't know what the heck they're doing. Ball comes out of the scrum, and the fly half literally is like 2 steps behind the scrum. And my reaction is to blow a whistle because he's offsides, And it's funny because the evaluator goes, well, it's obvious the referee knows the rules, knows the laws because he called him for not being 5 meters back. Kids are going to do that even more so. They see the ball there, they're antsy, they start going forward. You need to say, stay 5, stay 5. And you can do that with a firm, gentle voice and have the hand moving back to where they're 5. When the ball first goes in, you want to make sure they're 5, and if necessary, you do that. Sometimes, especially for the U14, you might say, hold, you keep your hand up while this is going on in the scrum, so when that ball comes out, your hand comes down, and they now know when to come forward. Lineouts. You know we have the lines positioned here. My suggestion is you want to be close to the touch line, near whoever's throwing the ball in. It does not have to be the hooker. Everybody needs to understand that. The hooker in the scrum doesn't have to be the person throwing the ball in. It's whoever can throw the ball in with some kind of control such that the team can succeed. You want to be in position to make sure that ball's straight. And what we talk about straight is, if you look at the tackle game, as long as the person catching the ball reaches, let's say, at the shoulders, that's straight. You're not going to see very many referees insist the ball be straight down the middle. I'm going to say if we don't do it in the tackle game, we don't need to do it. This is one of the situations you don't need to do in the tag game. But if the player's catching it, if the player's standing in the line and catching it like this, it's not straight. Teach the kids they've got to at least be able to reach them like this. You have to be positioned to be able to see that. And then your next job is, as soon as the ball is won, especially if you have U14 and they're fast, as soon as that happens, you need to be hauling to get into play, because the next thing you know, it's to the scrum half and it's going out to 3 backs on a 70-yard field, and they're halfway across the field. As soon as you know that ball is won, you need to start heading over. That's part of the positioning. In general play, you want to be pretty much in line with the team that has the ball. Try to stay out of their way, but you want to be able to know whether the passes are forward or not. There's no offside line in general play, so what matters is, are the passes being done correctly? And then the next thing that will happen is when there's a tag, are you close enough to be able to direct people to get that meter away?